Welcome back to another episode of the What We're Watching podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Jenny, and today we're talking about 13 Going on 30.
Yay!
I love this movie.
Me too. It's such a feel-good movie, and I haven't seen it in so long, I don't know why.
Did you watch this a lot growing up? Because I was obsessive about this movie growing up.
Yes, this was like one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, same. I didn't realize how much of a staple it was for me until I was watching it and I could quote everything, and I was like, oh.
I feel like this movie is probably an oldest daughter staple because I don't know about you, but I always was wishing to be older.
Really? I don't think I was.
Okay, just me.
But my sister was. She's the middle child, so.
Okay, maybe it's just, I would not be surprised if there is something with like kids that want to be older or whose like parents or like I had adults and teachers a lot telling me that I acted older than I was. And so I wonder if there was like, if there's some thread to that.
Yeah, oh, that's definitely an older daughter thing because I got that all the time too.
Yeah. So before we get into the episode, we have an update on our February review challenge. So thank you guys for leaving us more written reviews on Apple. We love doing this. We love getting to find like fun rom-coms that you guys maybe haven't seen or haven't seen in a while and recommending them based on your review.
We got a review from Michelange0 that says, "This is by far my favorite podcast to listen to. It's fun and enjoyable for casual listening in the car, while cleaning, or just chilling out. These girls really care about their audience and want to give the full behind-the-scenes look at some of our favorite shows and movies." Thank you.
Yay, thank you. Okay, so the movie that we picked is called The Lost City, and this stars Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum. It came out in 2022, so it's not quite as much of a nostalgic, but you didn't mention that in your review, so I feel like you would be up for it. It's so funny. I'll read the logline real quick. A reclusive romance novelist on a book tour with her cover model gets swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I actually really like this movie. It's so cute.
Yeah. I was very pleasantly surprised. I think it's hilarious and very adorable. And you can stream it on Paramount Plus or Prime Video right now.
Kelsey Malia says, "I just recently discovered this podcast and have already binge listened to so many episodes, and I'm obsessed. I love Y2K movie culture, and the hosts of this podcast are so funny to listen to, and also have great insight. Oh, and super relaxing voices, lol." I'm LOLing at that too. "I love listening on my way to college classes or on a walk. My fave episode so far is when they did How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days because that's my all-time fave rom-com. Keep it up, ladies." Yay, thank you.
Thank you. That is also my favorite rom-com, so I feel like we have similar taste. So the movie we picked for you is called Sydney White. I'm guessing you've seen it, but it definitely fits that Y2K rom-com vibe if you like that. I'll read the logline. A modern retelling of Snow White set against students in their freshman year of college in the Greek system. And this stars Amanda Bynes. I just think it's so funny and it's such a fun watch. So I'm guessing you haven't seen it in a while and it'll be a really great rewatch. And you can find it on Hulu or HBO Max.
I haven't seen it in so long, so I might rewatch this one with you, Kelsey.
So if you guys want us to come up with a rom-com suggestion for you, leave us a written review on the Apple Podcast app, which is just the little purple podcast app if you have an iPhone, and we would love to come up with one. This is the last week that we're doing our February review challenge also, so you got to get it in.
And we'll give you our recommendation in our next episode. Let's get back to 13 Going on 30.
Okay, so the logline for this movie is, Jenna Rank wishes she could just grow up after being humiliated at her 13th birthday party, only to wake up as a 30-year-old fashion magazine editor.
We love a good 2000s movie about a magazine editor.
Love. They're everywhere. It's like what all the girlies did.
Yeah, did you ever want to be one because of these movies?
Surprisingly, no. No, I didn't. Did you?
I don't remember. I know that I sometimes was like, ooh, I'll go to like New York City because that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. The New York City thing I definitely had. The New York or LA, but not to work for a magazine.
I did want to be a journalist at some point though, and it was probably from these movies.
For sure.
So this movie came out in 2004, which is the same year that The Notebook and Mean Girls came out.
What was 2004? Okay. It was like the pinnacle of our favorite movies. Like that period. Like what I would give to be an adult. Here I go. Like wishing I was older. If I had been an adult in that time going to the theaters to see these movies, it would have been like so magical, I feel.
Yeah, oh, I think so. Wait, 2004 was actually the year of the girls. It was for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was 2023, but 2004.
It is funny to me to think about Jennifer Garner, who was, I think, 31 when they filmed this, being in the same universe as Rachel McAdams, who I think was like 26 maybe, 26, 27, when she filmed both of those movies. Like, them being peers that probably went to all the same parties and stuff is like, I mean, like, I obviously know they're the same age, but that just feels so weird to me.
Yeah, they're just such different vibes. The movies are so different.
Mm-hmm. And then Wedding Crashers was like the year after this.
Yeah, you're right. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're on a Rachel McAdams kick, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
So they filmed this movie all around New York City, and Jennifer Garner said that sometimes they'd have hundreds of tourists watching them film, and paparazzi would be taking pictures and stuff like that. And she said it was really embarrassing.
Oh.
Which I could relate to, and you can actually see a clip behind the scenes of her filming that scene where she comes out of her apartment building for the first time as a 30-year-old, and she's in that little slip nightie and a coat, and she's like looking all around and freaking out because her phone is ringing. In that scene, I saw the behind the scenes, and everyone's like taking her picture, and she's having to just be in the scene and ignore them all and act very
like wildly
confused. Yeah. And she's like, they had no idea what I was doing. They didn't know what the role was, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's really funny, but that does make me feel bad for her.
Yeah. One thing I love about this movie is the fact that there are the adults, but then there are the young kids playing the adults, and they all look weirdly just like the adult actors.
Yeah. They're so cute.
They are, and they did such a good job. And I guess before the adults started filming, they were shown some of what the kids had already filmed so that they could, you know, make sure the performances matched up. And I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool. So that means they filmed this at least relatively in order, which I like.
Yeah, I wonder. And then I know that the kids watched some of the adult performances in order to inform their characters and act like the adults. I don't think they had started filming yet with the adults, so I'm confused about the timeline, but maybe they just watched their old stuff.
I like that they tried to match it up, though. That's cool.
Yeah, and it makes sense why it worked out so well.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess originally they weren't even going to have the kids in this movie. The adults were going to play themselves as 13-year-olds.
No.
It's giving Pen 15.
It is. It is.
Which I hate. I'm so sorry for anyone who loves it, but I don't like the adults with the middle schoolers.
Yeah, it gives SNL sketch to me. I think it would have been so silly. Instead of the kids in this movie feel so realistic and like genuine and like bratty and cute and all the actual things that middle school kids are. And so I think it would have really taken the audience out if they had used adults.
I think you're right.
Especially recognizable famous adults like Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I guess that's why they didn't end up doing it, is they were like, that's not going to work out with these actors.
I'm glad they thought better of it.
Me too. But it was funny. Jennifer and Mark, when they first met, it was a rehearsal where they were doing the read-through as the kids.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. Speaking of Jennifer, should we talk about her? Jennifer Garner.
We should. Absolutely. I love her. I guess this actually makes sense why she was a lead at the same time as Rachel McAdams, because to me, they're both the same amount of endearing, where you just like want to love them in whatever role they're in. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think so. And when I do think of Jennifer Garner, I think of this role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she nowadays is playing a lot of roles like this, right? Like, she's had some family movies come out.
Mm-hmm. I ended up watching that Christmas movie where, like, the family members all swap.
Yeah, like Freaky Friday, kind of.
Yes. And it has the girl from Wednesday,
mm-hmm.
the, like, blonde girl. It was so cute. I really liked it. And it gave me the same, like... It's not the same as this movie, but she is very similar, which is just so cute.
Teenager trapped in her body, though.
Yes.
That kind of thing.
Totally. Yeah,
she's so good at that. She's so good at playing innocent and sweet and genuine.
They could never, I mean, I guess the Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan was a remake. If they were to remake that again, I would love for Jennifer Garner to be the mom.
Oh, interesting. Oh.
Because she's about that age. I think their oldest daughter is probably in high school now.
I almost think she's, like, too cool to play the mom because, like, that was the whole thing, was there was this, like, dissonance between the two.
Mm.
But, no, I think I think you're right. I think she could play that off really well because obviously she just did in a holiday movie.
Yeah, I think it would be cute. But 13 Going on 30 was her first lead film role where she was like the main star, which is wild to me because she did such a good job. And it was also, I think I read an interview where she was talking about how this was the first role she was directly offered. And it was after she won a Golden Globe for her role in the TV show Alias.
I had no idea that she won a Golden Globe from Alias.
No, me
Have you ever seen it?
No.
I think I've seen only like the pilot or something, but that's a show that I want to start watching.
What's it about?
She's a spy. I don't know. She's pretty young in it. Like, I don't know if she's like a college student. I don't even know. She was on a break from Alias while filming 13 Going on 30. And when she was talking to her Alias castmates about the movie, they were like, you have to go for it because it is you. 13 Going on 30 is you.
Aww.
When they would be filming Alias, she would be acting like a serious spy chick for the show. And then as soon as they'd say cut, she'd start acting like she was 13.
Aww.
And so that's why they said she was perfect for the role.
That's cute. That's really cute. I love like hearing about different actors' journeys and like the fact that she was on a show and it was going so well and all of her castmates like seemed to like her and were supportive of it. And then this was the first role she was ever offered where she didn't have to audition. And it was her first lead. It just feels very fitting for her.
Yeah, totally.
And I said this before, but she was 31 when they filmed. So it was kind of like perfect timing for her to be actually the appropriate age for the character. And to prep, she spent a bunch of time with teenagers to get a better idea of how they act and how they spoke and like their mannerisms and stuff, which I feel like really shows.
Interesting. I wonder which teenagers. Did she know them?
I have no idea. I'm like, did she just walk around in New York and like follow some teenagers in the park or something? Like, I have no clue.
Like, just study them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I know. And this I thought was really interesting. I've read this and I'm not sure if I totally buy it, but supposedly she chose the director for this movie, which I feel like usually that's swapped. I feel like that doesn't happen a lot. And this was her first lead, so I'm like skeptical. But supposedly she chose him. His name is Gary Winnick. And they continued working together and like finding projects that they could do together until he died in 2011.
Wow. I heard that everyone loved working with Gary Winnick on this.
Really?
Yeah, so that makes sense that she kind of followed him and did other projects after this.
That's cute. Yeah, I like the idea that they were close and got to work together more.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I knew about her before this, she's always been big in advocacy work, especially around children. So she does a lot of advocating for early childhood education, and she was one of the big Hollywood stars that was campaigning for laws against showing children in paparazzi photos, which I think is really important.
Yeah, honestly, love that. Love that. They should not be in paparazzi photos.
Yeah. Now, this I didn't know. Did you watch Scandal?
Yes. Not all of it, but yes.
Okay. She was married to Scott Foley, which I had no idea about this.
Is that the president? Who is that?
No, he plays Jake. If you guys think that you don't know who Scott Foley is, look him up because you'll probably recognize him. He was in Scandal, Felicity, and Scrubs, and they were married from 2000 to 2003. I watched most of Scandal. Brian and I both did, actually. That was something that was a show that I was surprised he really liked.
Oh.
We watched a lot of it. And he's a big character in Scandal. And so this like shook me to know that they were, again, with like people that I would never imagined in the same universe, they were married.
Wow.
Because I always think of her and Ben Affleck, which I feel like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And they got together in 2004, so the year after she got divorced. And then they got married in 2005. And they were together until 2018 was when their divorce was finalized. So a long time.
I didn't realize they were together that long.
Mm-hmm. And they have 3 kids. Their names are Violet, Serafina, and Samuel.
Cute.
Yeah. And I feel like we see, like, if you keep up with pop culture and paparazzi photos and stuff, we see Violet a lot more now. I think she's a teen. I think she's maybe in high school. I think her mom brings her to galas and stuff now. So I think she's starting to, I don't know that any of them are really interested in working in Hollywood, but she is a little bit older, so we see her out more. And she looks just like her mom. It's wild.
Really? That reminds me of Reese Witherspoon and her daughter.
Yes, very similar.
Cute. Some other people were considered for the role of Jenna besides Jennifer Garner. We had Gwyneth Paltrow, of course.
Of course. She's in every one of these lists.
I know, every time. But she's never been in a movie that we've talked about.
No. It makes me feel kind of bad. Because I'm like, was she actually, like, doing... I guess they offered this role to her, so maybe they had other people in mind and asked them if they were available, because they might not have auditioned. But anyway.
I think she was doing a lot of stuff in the 90s. And so I think just because we're hitting those like 2000s movies, maybe we're just missing her. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Hilary Swank, which I could totally see because she kind of has Jennifer Garner vibes.
I don't think I know who that is.
$1 Million Baby.
I haven't seen it. I recognize her name. Let me look her up. Oh, yes. I know who this is. Yeah, I could totally see that. She looks very similar to
That's
Jennifer
what I
Garner.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Renee Zellweger.
I also don't know who that is.
She is from Bridget Jones' Diary.
Yes, I do. Yep. Sure do. Okay. Yeah, I could see all of them.
I know. They kind of have that, like, innocent thing going, but could also play the hot, mean fashion editor.
True.
Should we talk about Mark Ruffalo?
Yes. I love Mark Ruffalo.
Oh my gosh. This movie is what made me love him.
Yeah, me too. And I forgot that he did this because I always just think of him as Hulk. As the Hulk now. I forget what his like person name is, but he's in all the Avengers and Marvel movies, and my family and Brian and I love those, so I've seen all of those. And then he was also just in Poor Things, the Emma Stone movie. I don't know if you saw that.
You're right. I haven't seen it, no.
He's like one of the main characters in that movie. And so when we played this, or when I like put this on the other day, I had like forgotten that we had seen him so young, and this is definitely the first thing I really loved him in. So he has like some interesting fun facts that are like not linear, but just like random fun facts. Number one is he had a benign brain tumor that was removed via brain surgery and made him deaf in one ear.
I had no idea, but that is not a fun fact, Megan.
Sorry.
That's an unfun fact.
Interesting facts. The next one is also dark, okay? Yeah, I should have said not fun facts, but like way more wild than we normally see.
I got you.
Okay.
We know what you meant.
Thank you. It's just my true crime girly is coming out, especially with this one. So his brother was killed in 2008, shot execution style, still unsolved.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so sad.
I know, isn't that tragic?
I cannot imagine that first off happening to someone in your family that you love and care about, but also for it to be unsolved and for you to never have that closure.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh, that's so sad.
I know. And I feel like Mark Ruffalo is really private. Like, I don't see him do interviews really ever. I really never knew anything about him personally. And so, yeah, it was surprising to hear these, like, bigger, shocking things about him when celebrities, I feel like, are normally talking about big life events and things like that. But I did find out, and this I feel like is very under wraps, he married his wife, Sunrise Coiney. I'm probably butchering her last name. In 2000, and I don't think she works in Hollywood. I didn't recognize her name or her, and they have 3 kids.
Oh, they're still together?
Yeah.
Oh, we love a long-term private Hollywood relationship.
I know. Yeah, that makes me happy. And this also makes me really happy. He has an EGOT in nominations. So he hasn't won the awards, but he's been nominated for all 4 big awards.
Wow, but won none of them.
I actually don't know. I know that the like ones that were probably more of a stretch for him, like the Tony and the Grammy, he didn't win, I don't think. But the other ones, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's ever won an Emmy or an Oscar.
I hope he has. He should have got one for this movie. I loved him in this movie.
I know.
Also, didn't he just get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think that was really recent. And I think Jennifer Garner was there to support him. They took a picture of them now together, and then there was a comparison of them back then and now, and it was very cute.
That's cute.
And then we have Judy Greer,
who I also love. I feel like she's in everything.
Oh, yeah.
She's in Love and Other Drugs, 27 Dresses, Archer, Ant-Man. I feel like the list is insane for her. If you don't think you recognize her and you haven't seen 13 Going on 30 in a while, she is Jenna's best friend when they're adults who works at the magazine with her. Just look up her name, Judy Greer. You'll recognize her instantly.
She's in Arrested Development too, and she plays the complete opposite character of what she is in this movie. But my entire life, anytime I see her in something, I'm like, oh, that's the mean girl from 13 Going on 30.
I know. So she is also married. She got married in 2011 to Dean E. Johnson, and he's an executive producer. He produced Real Time with Bill Maher. And so she's a stepmom to his 2 kids. So, again, another long-standing, quiet Hollywood marriage. And this I thought was interesting. She was raised Roman Catholic, and her mom was a nun for a while, before she had her, obviously. And she got kicked out for wild behavior, such as owning a red bathing suit.
Oh, that is wild. That is rebellious.
Really crazy.
Wow. That's a really fun fact, actually.
Yeah.
I love when we find out these, like, interesting tidbits that you wouldn't otherwise know about these actors. And she and Jennifer Garner, despite being enemies in this movie, are friends in real life. And she says, "It was really hard to be mean to Jen. I remember being mean to her in scenes, and then after a cut just being like, ugh, I'm so sorry. And then sometimes I remember we would be in the middle of a scene, and they would cut, and she would just be like, oh, you're so mean."
Aww.
I thought that was so cute.
That is cute.
And a lot of her lines in this movie are super memorable. And what I love to see is that she actually improvised a lot of them.
Cool.
Yeah, they said she is really what made those scenes super funny. She could take a funny line and just make it 10 times funnier.
I love that. Yeah, she did such a good job in this. It really made it like a 3-lead movie instead of the 2 of them, I think.
True, yeah.
I think it would have been really easy to just have a mean girl type character that wasn't like a really strong performance, and this was.
Yeah, you're so right about that. Should we get into the movie?
Let's do it.
Yay, I'm so excited. So we open on school picture day in 1987 to a nerdy tween with braces named Jenna. And the photographer takes a horrible photo of her because he keeps calling her Gina or something. He calls her not Jenna. And she keeps correcting him and saying, it's Jenna, it's Jenna. And then the photos afterwards are just her mid-speech. And she's mortified when she sees these photos.
Yeah, this is really sad. And so we didn't talk about her before, but the actress who plays young Jenna is named Krista B. Allen. And she had no acting experience before this, which is so impressive.
Yeah, she was so young.
And she also plays young Jennifer Garner in Ghosts of Girlfriends Past.
That's so cute.
Which I love that movie, and it's because Jennifer Garner liked her so much and thought she looked just like her in real life when she was young, and so she had her come onto that project to play young her again.
Oh, she did look so similar. It's a pet peeve of mine when they have younger actors playing someone and they don't look anything like the person.
Yeah.
But this movie is the one that crushed it.
Yeah, especially the Mark Ruffalo younger version to me. It's just so cute. I could buy that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love him. So Krista is in her 30s now, and occasionally she posts 13 going on 30 content to her social media, like
Cute.
her wearing that green iconic dress from the Thriller scene, and she really looks very similar to Jennifer Garner when she's all done up like that in the costume.
That's cool. I'll have to go follow her.
Yeah, and she's in a new reality rom-com, which I didn't know was a thing. A reality rom-com.
Me either.
It's called Meet Me in Rome.
Cute.
Yeah.
So then in the hallway after picture day, she meets up with Matt, her best friend, who snaps a photo of her, and we find out that it's her 13th birthday.
And the cool girls at school walk down the hallway and they make fun of Matt. And because they're being mean to him, he says something like, I'm gonna go do this, Jenna. And Tom, the leader of this group of popular girls, says it's not like she needs a play-by-play. And this is important because it comes back.
Yeah. It's so sad. People are so mean. Teens are so mean. I forgot.
I know.
I had to pause the screen in the middle of the scene because their like group of popular girls is called the Six Chicks. And when the Six Chicks walks up to Jenna and Matt, I was like, oh my God, that is little baby Brie Larson and Ashley Benson.
Okay, I did not recognize Brie Larson.
Okay.
But I recognized Ashley Benson immediately and had to pause it too. And then I looked at your notes and saw that Brie Larson was in it. And I was like, wait a second, that's Brie Larson? Baby Brie Larson?
Yeah, they look so young. I agree with you though. I think I put in the notes originally Brie Larson ? And Ashley Benson. I think I was watching it on Prime, and I'm sure you guys will know this, but when you pause a scene on Prime, it will show the actors that are currently on screen, like underneath the little movie bar. And it said Brie Larson, and I was like, wow. And they're just unnamed third Six Chick and like second Six Chick or something. And that was their start.
I loved seeing them in it. They were so cute.
Yeah. So Tom, the leader of the cool girls, tells Jenna that they were thinking about coming to her birthday party that night, but that unfortunately they can't make it because they have to work on a group project. And she mentions that the guy Jenna has a crush on, Chris Grandy, was thinking about coming too. So then Jenna offers to write their report for them, which you can immediately tell was the cool girls' plan the entire time. And the girls say, fabuloso, which I hate that.
And then after school, Matt says he can't believe that Jenna invited the Six Chicks to her party. And Jenna says they're her friends. Well, almost. and that one day she wants to be a 6th chick. So I guess that would make her the 7th chick.
Yeah, I think at some point Matt is like, you can't be a 6th chick. That's the whole point. There's 6 of them.
And he says they're totally unoriginal. And Jenna goes, I don't want to be original, Maddie. I want to be cool.
There is a theme to this movie that I did not pick up on until watching it this time as an adult, where we see Jenna be so obsessed with being cool and being pretty and like having the right hair and the right makeup, and you see her obsession with Poise magazine. We'll get to that in a second. And then to see her grow up and be the thing, like be friends with the cool girls and like work at the cool magazine. And I realized that the underlying message of this is it is cooler to be original instead of trying to be that thing, because we see Jenna realize that as she's like confronted with it when she gets older. Maybe that's so obvious. It's like so obviously the undertone, but I did not put it together until I was watching it this time.
I think subconsciously I understood that theme of like being true to yourself and being original, but like the word original never came to mind until you just said it and called out that that quote was important. And you're right, that quote is, I think, what we call in screenwriting the theme stated.
Yeah.
Where at the beginning of the movie, usually a character will state the theme of the movie before we get into the movie, and then it kind of circles back to that.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Wow, good find, Megan.
Thank you. And then this is cute because Matt shares his Razzles, and that will come back.
I remember getting a Razzles pillow because of this movie. I actually would always buy Razzles if I saw them because of this movie, and I had never heard of them before watching this.
Same.
Because I don't think they were very popular when we were kids. But now I still buy them if I see them. I love them.
Me too. I think I have some in my cabinet right now because if I see them, I'm like, I have to buy them. Yeah.
Me too. It's like a nostalgic thing for me now because of this movie.
Me
so
too.
Cute.
And then they do this cute thing that comes back later in the movie where one of them says arrivederci and the other one says au revoir. Not me, just, yes, I have taken French. And yes, my teacher made me the example of how not to pronunciate things, okay? So I don't want to see it in the reviews.
That's a really hard word to say, honestly. That's why I made you say it.
And then he takes a photo of her with his camera that's always around his neck. That's also important. And we find out that they live next door to each other.
And then Jenna gets ready for her party, and her parents come in with a video camera. And her mom asks her what she did, referring to all the makeup on her face, and if she's wearing a bra because she has stuffed her shirt with tissues. And Jenna freaks out, and she says that she hates her life and that she just wants to look like the girls in the magazines. And I love this line. Her mom says, just because you don't look like the girls in Poise magazine doesn't mean you're not beautiful in your own way. And Jenna goes, I want to look like these people. And her mom goes, oh, those aren't people, honey. Those are models.
I appreciate that attitude.
Her mom is great.
Yeah, her mom is great. It's hard to be a girl. That's all. It just
Period.
Beauty standards are horrible and it's hard. And that's actually what really made me like understand the theme of this, like this scene, just being like, wow, my heart breaks for her, because the reason that she's like kind of a brat is because she's trying so hard to fit into these standards at her school and in the magazines and all these things, and it just sucks.
I cannot even imagine growing up with social media.
No.
I mean, I read magazines a lot, and I definitely felt the things that Jenna feels in this movie from looking at magazines. So I cannot imagine just like having so much content at your fingertips of like people being perfect.
Yeah. I remember when, because I've said this before, but my mom did a really good job introducing body neutrality to us from a very young age, which is like amazing. And I thank her in my brain every day for it. But when I got to college, I feel like was when social media was blowing up. And I remember my confidence was shook. Like I really did not compare myself much growing up. And then when I got to college, it was just like, oh my God, the pool of like our, community of people that you see is not just my high school. It's everyone. And it's everyone that's like hyper filtering and editing, especially at that time. Because I feel like that was when Facetune and like all of the Instagram filters were like huge. And there was no discussion about authenticity or like, I don't know, representation. Like none of that was being talked about. And it was horrible. So I cannot imagine being like 12, 13, 14 with access to that.
No, definitely not. Our hearts go out to you if you are a little younger than us.
Yeah.
The open page on the magazine says 30, flirty, and thriving. Why the 30s are the best years of your life. And Jenna goes, I want to be 30. Which, like, this always just kind of made me laugh, like, even when I was a kid, because I was like, wow, you just want to skip your 20s. Like, I feel like people always are like, 30 is when you turn old. And like your 20s are like what are the best years of your life or whatever. I hate when people say that. And then as someone who only has a year left of her 20s, I've been thinking about this movie a lot lately. And it makes me feel like embracing it.
I love that. And it should. I think you're right. I think it was pretty revolutionary in the early 2000s to be like, 30 is cool. 30 is so young and hip and you're thriving. Because I think that's absolutely true, actually. I'm very much looking forward to my 30s. I feel like the 20s are much bumpier than anyone ever tells you. And yeah, I just appreciate it. You're right. We don't see a lot of like messaging to be like, 30 is the best. 30 is going to be amazing. You hear like, 30 is when you should be married and thinking about having children, especially if you were raised in the South like us.
But I feel like that narrative is really changing, and I love that. I feel like people are doing things older, and it's just not, there's not as much of a time pressure anymore.
Totally.
Taylor Swift is 34. I mean,
yeah. I actually think that's one of the more positive things that social media has done, is because your community does feel bigger and you can look for people that have the same ideas as you or are in the same life phase or have the same interests. You're able to find community that way, which I think is really cool. While Jenna's in the basement practicing dancing to Thriller by Michael Jackson, which I loved, Matt shows up to the party with a giant gift, a Jenna dream house that he made, which is so cute.
I wanted one.
Me too. And then he also gives her wishing dust that's supposed to make all her dreams come true, and he sprinkles it all over the house.
Can we just talk about the details of the house really quick, because it's so cute. He like really put so much thought into it, and he printed out pictures of him and Jenna and put them on dolls in the house, and he just spent so much time on it, and it's just so cute. He set the standards high.
High, yeah.
But the doorbell rings, and she shoves the house into the closet, and you can just see Matt's face just fall. It's so sad.
I know.
And the party is so awkward. Everyone is just standing around, and Matt is the only one dancing, and he's dancing to Burning Down the House. They don't know what that song is, and they're like, what is this? So Tom Tom, the cool girl, turns Matt's music off, and he says he's going next door to get his Casio. And Jenna says, do whatever you want, Matt. It's not like I need a play-by-play, which makes all the girls giggle.
Sad for Matt. But yeah, it is tragic, but it's so like true that this is how kids are, because you just want to be cool and you want people to accept you, and you're willing to be mean sometimes. That sucks.
And I love that she took the exact same line and used it on him that Tom Tom had used on him, because like she's still just trying to imitate everything they do. She can't come up with her own quips yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So then Tom Tom says they're going to play 7 Minutes in Heaven and tells her Chris wants to go first. So she puts a blindfold on her and she goes into the closet, and then Tom Tom takes the report that Jenna wrote for them and leaves with everyone. And as she's going up the stairs, Matt comes in and Tom Tom tells him that Jenna is waiting for him in the closet.
So Matt comes in and they hold hands and almost kiss with her blindfold on. And then she says, "Oh, Chris." And Matt's like, "What? It's me." And Jenna assumes immediately that Matt did something to make everyone leave. She yells at him, and then she slams the closet door and shuts herself inside the closet. And she says she wants to be 30 and flirty and thriving. And she bangs up against the shelves in the closet. And as she does so, the wishing dust from the dream house falls onto her.
And then we cut to a scene where it's very dark, but we see a grown woman waking up, and she falls out of her bed. And we realize it's grown-up Jenna.
And I love that her sleeping mask in this scene is the same pattern as the blindfold that she was wearing in the closet during the 7 Minutes in Heaven thing. It's so cute. It's a very nice detail.
Very cute. And she's freaking out. She has no idea where she is. She screams when she looks in the mirror. She realizes she has boobs and is just like running around her apartment grabbing them. Which, side note, I forgot that people used to stuff their bras. Like, seeing her do that at 13 just made me laugh so hard because I knew people that did that. And I just forgot about it. And so she's going through her mail, and it all has her name on it. So she knows that she must live there. And this is so cute. The first thing she does is she tries calling her parents, but she gets their voicemail, and their voicemail is saying that they're on a Caribbean cruise, I think. And she's like, "You went on a cruise without me?" In the voicemail. It's very cute. And then we hear a man coming out of her bathroom calling her sweet bottom, and she freaks out, grabs her coat, and runs out the door. And while she's doing this, she like sees him and she's like, "You're naked." And he's like, "Well, not yet." And then he drops his towel. She's using an umbrella like as a weapon to fend him off, and she opens it to cover him, which I thought was just very clever.
I love that scene. It's so funny. And I remember watching this as a 13-year-old and probably younger. And I was of her mindset, right? Like, I was like, who is this man in her bathroom?
Ew.
What is he doing? And so it's really funny because I really remember, like, just really relating to the 13-year-old Jenna and everything that she thought, because I was that innocent too. And it's so fun watching it as an adult and remembering that.
Mm-hmm.
So as she leaves the apartment building, her phone is ringing in her pocket, but she doesn't know what cell phones are. And so she's like, what is that noise? I don't even think she has a pocket. It's like in her little purse. And then a blonde woman is there and she's like, get in the car. But Jenna's like, I don't get in the car with strangers. And eventually she does get in to get away from the naked man because he's calling down from her apartment window. And she's like, go away. And it's just so cute and funny. But this was the scene that she was filming in front of all the paparazzi.
I can imagine this would be very stressful to film in front of a bunch of strangers, because she is just like looks like a lunatic, like is in her pajamas. Although this is maybe my favorite outfit of the entire movie.
It's cute.
But she's like looking around like there's a noise somewhere, and I'm sure that was just embarrassing. So then when the girls are in the car, the blonde woman says that she's Jenna's best friend, and Jenna goes, oh my gosh, you're my best friend, and tells her about all the weird things happening. But her friend is just writing it off as if she's hungover. And Jenna says, there was a naked man in my shower and I saw his thingy. And the other woman goes, oh God, not his thingy. And she's just treating it so sarcastically. It's so funny. And her phone is still ringing, obviously. And so her friend shows her how to answer her phone. And it's her boyfriend who's been calling. And she says, put on some pants and stop calling me sweet bottom and get out of my house.
I love that.
I know. And so then when they get to work, her friend gets out of the car and gives her a pep talk. She's like, you need to get your shit together. We have an important meeting. And during this pep talk, Jenna learns that she's a magazine editor at Poise, which is the magazine she was looking at with her mom earlier. And then when she's in the office, the scene makes me laugh, she meets Richard, who her friend in the car had said, yeah, it's probably Richard calling you, you know, your boss. Dark curly hair, British accent. And so then when she meets Richard, she goes, oh my gosh, you're my boss. And he says, that's right, baby. Who's your daddy? And she says, Wayne Rink. And I just love this exchange. I think it's so funny.
There are too many quotes in this movie to quote. Like, they're just so good.
Yeah.
And Richard is played by Andy Serkis, who is Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
I am shook. I'm shook.
I kind of always recognize him now because of this movie, and it's funny.
That's crazy. I never would have. In this, he's like funny magazine editor-in-chief. Sort of like, yes, like trendy, kind of flamboyant man that like loves to hang out with the girls.
Not a slimy, creepy goblin person.
Not Gollum.
So Jenna asks her assistant Arlene to find Matt when she gets to the office, and she gives her his home phone number from the 80s, which I think is really cute.
Mm-hmm.
And at the meeting, they are discussing their competitor, Sparkle, and how somehow they're copying everything that Poise is doing and going like one step extra. And Jenna abruptly leaves the meeting to go to her office because she is just so overwhelmed by everything that's going on. And she finds photos of the naked guy and her. And then she also finds Madonna's autograph. And she's like, I'm friends with Madonna? And then I also noticed there's a photo of her with Rudy Giuliani.
I did not notice that.
I forgot. I don't know if at the time he was the mayor of New York, but that's just really funny to me now.
That is funny.
Her assistant Arlene comes in and says that she found Matt's address. And Jenna runs out of the office to go find him.
And she does. She goes to Matt's apartment and he reluctantly lets her in, but you can tell that he doesn't recognize her at first, so we know that they aren't good friends as 30-year-olds. And we find out that Matt is a photographer, which makes sense because he was always taking photos when they were younger. And she explains that yesterday was her 13th birthday, and he asks if she's on drugs.
Which is the first realistic reaction we've gotten, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that her friend was just like, you're being a little weird today is crazy.
Like, are you hungover? Okay. I'm like, no, this woman needs help.
Yes, yes. If my long-lost best friend, who had not spoken to me in decades, showed up at my door acting wild, saying that yesterday she was 13 years old, we would be off to a psychiatrist immediately, or the hospital. Yeah. So she tells him that she needs his help remembering her life. Again, red flag. Alarm bells. And Matt says he doesn't know anything about her anymore and that they haven't seen each other since high school. And she freaks out at this because she's like, no. Yesterday you were my best friend. And this is really cute because she keeps saying she needs a fluffy pillow now. So they go outside and they're sitting on the bench. He gives her a fluffy pillow and Matt offers to help her find her apartment.
And yeah, I just kept thinking during this part, like what we said, like why isn't he taking her to the hospital? But actually, there was a deleted scene here, and he does make her go to the doctor. She doesn't want to, but he makes her. And the doctor says everything came back normal, all the tests are normal, and the only thing that came to the doctor's attention is that Jenna has a fabulous tattoo. Then when the doctor leaves to let Jenna get dressed, she frantically is looking underneath her gown to try and find where the tattoo is, because she obviously has no idea.
That sounds like such a good scene. I'm sad that it didn't make it.
I guess they thought it wasn't important, but it was important to me because I needed to know he was rational. Okay? So when they get to her place, Matt comes inside and they look at their yearbook. And Matt tells her that she was the leader of the 6 chicks. And we find out that Lucy, the girl from work, is Tom from high school. And that Jenna went to prom with Chris Grandy. Jenna says she got everything she ever wanted, and then when Matt leaves, she makes him say au revoir, and it's so cute.
It's so cute.
He, like, doesn't want to, but she makes him.
Yeah. Although you can tell that he's upset by, like, she was like, oh my god, I need Matt, and then as soon as she found out that she became best friends with Tom and she went to prom with Chris Grandy and she has this great job. And I think this is also when she gets a call asking her to get ready for her limo pickup to a party that night. You can tell she's just like in la la land, like my life is perfect, and Matt's like, okay, I'm gonna go now. And you can tell he's kind of sad.
Yeah, and there's obviously like a difference, like he struggles with money and she's living this like lavish lifestyle, and so that's where he's kind of back to reality a bit.
Yeah.
So now that it's been revealed that Judy Greer's adult Lucy is young Tom.
Who is the lady from the car.
Yes.
Who is the, like, best friend. Yeah, I don't think we named her earlier, but that's Lucy.
I don't know if we did. Yeah. Apparently when Judy Greer's mom met Alexandra Kyle, who is the actress who plays young Tom/Lucy, she was shocked and she said, it's like seeing my daughter again. And I just thought that was so sweet.
That's really cute.
And I do think they look very similar.
For sure. So then Jenna gets ready for her fancy party just like she did when she was 13. She has bright pink lipstick, curly hair, blue eyeshadow, and this is where she wears the dress. You guys know the dress, the like stripy blue, I think it's like blue, green, purple or blue, green, red or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a giant closet and she's so happy. She has like rows and rows of shoes and you can tell she's just like in heaven, in her 13-year-old heaven. And on her way out, she talks to Becky, her 13-year-old neighbor. And Becky is played by Renee Olstead, who is the best friend in The Secret Life of the American Teenager. I just read that, and this was Jenny's note. I'm sorry, I like took her spot. I had no idea, but I knew I recognized her.
Yeah, I always recognized her too, and I didn't know from what, and then I looked her up because I was like, she looks so familiar, and yep.
Wow.
I love those kind of fun facts. So Jenna takes her stretch limo through New York City to the Poise party, and she orders pina coladas, not virgin, because she realizes that she doesn't have to get virgin ones, and she gets super drunk, and at 11 o'clock people are leaving, the party's really boring, and then she and Tom/Lucy, I always forget her name is Lucy, so I'm probably just going to call her Tom for the whole thing.
Me too.
But she doesn't go by Tom as an adult. They are talking to Sparkle's editor-in-chief named Trish, and they just trash talk each other's magazines. I don't know why Sparkle was invited to Poise's party to begin with, but here we are.
And so because everyone's worried that the party is a stinker, and you can tell there's also like some concern that the magazine isn't doing well because of Sparkle. So like this was the party that they really needed to help like revive people's excitement in the city about the magazine, I guess. And so Jenna takes the party into her own hands and has the DJ play Thriller to get everyone dancing. And she starts dancing alone in the middle to Thriller, and Matt shows up, which I'm shocked he came, because she had mentioned it in passing to him earlier. And so as soon as he walks in, she forces him to the dance floor, and it works. People start dancing Thriller with them, Which I need to say, I was in a Michael Jackson dance competition in middle school.
No way.
And I danced to Thriller, yes.
You still remember it, I'm sure?
No.
Oh.
Bits of it, yes, but not most of it. I've like wiped the experience from my memory.
That's so cute.
And so near the end of the song, Matt says he needs to go and he leaves the party.
Yeah, during this part, it's kind of interesting because it's like Matt is looking around and he's realizing something. Like this look of realization comes onto his face and then he's like, I gotta go. My interpretation of this was like he feels like he doesn't belong at this kind of party and he doesn't really understand why he came. And so he's like, oh, I gotta go. And so he abruptly leaves.
This was really confusing to me, I'm not gonna lie. Even as an adult, like it was confusing to me that he showed up in the first place. But then it was more confusing when he stayed for less than one song. But I think you're probably right. I think he probably did actually have a second to look around. Because she never said this is like my work party or that it's like a fancy party. She just said, I'm going to a party later. You should come. This is the address. And so we don't know what his expectations were. So I think that's probably right.
Yeah, he must have just been really curious about her. And that's why he showed up. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Alternative could be because we see later on in the movie he makes a comment about how he felt this whole week and like he didn't think it was possible to feel like that anymore. I wonder if this is the first moment that he's like, ooh, I kind of like her and this is really fun. And he's like, oh, no, we're about to find out he's engaged. And so I wonder if that's also just sort of like a flag of like, what am I doing? It is like a work night and I'm out of this party for this girl that I was in love with in middle school. I don't need to be here.
Yeah. Oh, you might definitely be right about that.
Maybe just a combination of all those things. Something funny that I read is that Mark Ruffalo almost didn't take the role because of this scene. And I read an interview with Jennifer Garner where she said this was the most entertaining thing to watch him learn how to do Thriller. And I did notice when I was watching it, I was like, Mark Ruffalo looks so uncomfortable and he's only like half doing all the moves. But I just assumed that was like his character because it is totally like his character to do that.
No, I think it's genuine embarrassment.
Yeah.
I heard an interview where he said that he was embarrassed because there were like 300 extras around or something. And he was like, I have to do this in front of all of them.
Lots of actors being shy in the filming of this movie in front of strangers.
He seems so down to earth.
Yeah.
Especially with like the things that you were saying about his background earlier. Like he just seems like he's just, I could be so wrong. He could be the worst person in the world. So don't, like hold me to this. But like, he just seems like somebody who just cares about the craft of acting and then wants to keep his life normal.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see scenes of Jenna shopping and she's eating ice cream in the park and petting dogs and living her best life. She's just really enjoying being 30 and getting everything she ever wanted. I love this part. She's reading magazine publishing for dummies in bed with a green face mask and a bag of Cheetos.
Yeah.
So cute.
I love this part. You guys will remember this if you can imagine her laying in bed with the face mask on, and when a face mask gets hard and you can't move your face, she like makes her mouth into a little circle and then like slots a Cheeto in. It's really funny.
It's so iconic. I love it. And then at the bar with Lucy tells her that the guy behind them is checking her out, and Jenna's like, ooh, he's really cute. And so when she gets up to talk to him, she walks right past the guy who's looking at her and goes to talk to this tween boy instead of the older man, which disgusting.
I forgot that this happened and I died.
Me too. And so Lucy is like, are you crazy? Like, do you want to go to jail? It's gross. And then when they leave the bar, Jenna sees the naked guy and Lucy's like, that's your boyfriend. And we find out that he's a New York Rangers hockey player. And then she sees Matt, who apologizes for leaving the party and introduces her to Wendy, his fiance from Chicago. And there's this whole like awkward moment where Wendy mentions that Matt is moving to Chicago, and you can tell they haven't actually discussed that yet or like agreed on it, but she just assumes that he's moving to Chicago with her. And also I got weird vibes as an adult. Like I always thought she was super nice as a kid, Wendy. But then as an adult, I was like, no, there's kind of a power play between her and Jenna. A little bit.
Yeah. Which, like, fair.
Oh, totally. We always say justice for the other woman. Or, no, justice for the original woman.
Justice for the mistress. That's what we stand for here.
You know what I meant.
I know what you meant, yeah. The non-lead is usually in the right. I.e. Lon from the Notebook episode, if you guys have listened to that.
And Martha Shaw, poor Martha Shaw.
Yeah, truly. So Jenna goes to her boyfriend's place, and he tries to make moves on her the whole time, and she's like so grossed out and not into it. And then he does the iconic raunchy strip tease, and he's so committed to the dancing. It's incredible. And he's dancing to Ice Ice Baby, and she is just horrified the entire time. It's so funny.
I remember also being horrified by this at the age of 13.
Still horrified.
It's hilarious. He did such a good job.
Yeah. I was imagining this scene must have been so funny to film.
Yeah, Jennifer Garner said she was legitimately embarrassed by it. And they were just trying so hard to get her embarrassed because they knew she wouldn't be comfortable with this.
That's really funny.
The guy who played her boyfriend was very into it. He said it was so much fun.
That's so funny. And so the next day she tells 13-year-old Becky, her neighbor, he didn't have Battleship. He didn't have any games at all. Because her and Tom Tom had an exchange the night before where she was like, should I go to his apartment alone by myself? And Tom Tom was like, yeah, play. You deserve it. She goes, play like games and stuff like Battleship. And she's like, yeah.
And then at work, we learn that they need to redesign the entire Poise magazine, which is a death sentence. And Jenna says, no, it's not a death sentence. It's an opportunity to have some fun. And let Sparkle have their grody ideas. And so now it's up to Jenna and Lucy to redesign the magazine.
Jenna's assistant, Arlene, reads her messages to her, and they're all mean. They're all about Jenna backstabbing other people. So this is where we've had hints throughout, but this is where we really learn what Jenna is actually like as a 30-year-old, and that is a mean girl. And Arlene also lets a man into Jenna's office that she's clearly having an affair with, even though he's married to Tracy from the art department. And Jenna is disgusted and kicks him. Is that right? Does she kick him?
She kicks him or punches him or something.
Yeah, that's true. And Arlene, her assistant, sees, and you can tell that this makes Arlene have some respect for Jenna because they have had a really difficult relationship up until this. But this dude is gross. I forgot how scary he is.
I agree.
Doesn't he come in and say, come here, Pookie, or something horrible?
Yeah. What is up with the men having these gross nicknames, Sweet Bottom and Pookie? I'm so sorry if your partner calls you either of those, but...
Yeah, well, Pookie is a thing on TikTok right now, also.
Yeah, I have seen that, actually.
I love this part. Before the guy comes in, we see that Jenna has, redecorated her office, and it's covered in Lisa Frank folders, notebooks. She has, glitter pens with feathers on the end, and it's so cute. I think that maybe is a second theme of this movie, is bringing your childhood spirit to the everyday, makes things happier. And I just love her office. It made me so happy.
Too. The grip that Lisa Frank still has on me.
Absolutely. I feel like if we could have an aesthetic for the podcast, it would be Lisa Frank.
Oh, you're so right.
Pink, sparkly stickers everywhere. And then on her way out of the office, she overhears Lucy, aka Tom Tom, talking to somebody about how she's sick of the crazy new act she has going on. And so obviously Jenna has gone through a drastic personality change in the last few days, so they're talking shit about how different she's acting. And Lucy says they should come up with their own presentation without her and let Jenna fall on her ass.
And then Jenna goes to Matt's and they go for a walk, and she's asking about his fiance, and she's like, do you get goosebumps when you're around Wendy? And he says he hasn't felt like that since high school. And then she asks why they stopped being friends, and he tells her they stopped being friends after her 13th birthday party when she threw the dream house he made for her at him. And she apologizes and tells him that she's a bad person because she has realized that.
So sad. So then Jenna goes home, home to her parents. She takes the train, and when she gets there, she finds that her room has been turned into this office/workout room, so you can tell she probably never visits. And she sits in her basement closet crying, which is the last time we saw her in this house because it was on her birthday party. And then her parents come home from their vacation at the same time, and they hear her in the basement, and they come downstairs to see her, and they have this really cute moment where they all hug, and she crawls in bed with her mom that night.
It's so sweet.
The next morning at breakfast, Jenna asks her mom if she'd do anything in her life over again. And her mom says she doesn't regret anything because if she hadn't made all the mistakes she did, she wouldn't have learned how to make things right. And then Jenna apologizes for missing Christmas. And this broke my heart to just have Jenna see her mom not be regretful and know that she is, and that she shouldn't have wished away all those years because then she could have done it in a better way. Ugh, tragic.
It's so sad. But I think this is the moment where she's like, okay, well, I have to learn from these mistakes and do something about it. So there's a shift here. One of my favorite shifts is that costume-wise, her clothes completely change, and I know this is very intentional from the costume designer, but as soon as she heads home, there's a shift where, like, she's wearing sweaters and less makeup, and her hair is kind of normal. She's not doing these funky, fashionable, wild outfits anymore, which I loved, don't get me wrong, but I like how she kind of starts turning to more, like, sweet, normal clothes after this part.
Yeah, me too. I didn't even notice it consciously, but I remember especially when she gets on the train being like, oh wow, I love her outfit, it's so much more normal. And I think it's nice that they did that visually.
Me too. And then Jenna's looking through all her old high school yearbooks, and she flags the photos that give her ideas, and all of the yearbook photos were taken by Matt.
Back at the office, Lucy tells her she's working on her own design idea, and Jenna says, oh, that's okay, I'm doing the same thing. And Lucy's definitely caught off guard by this.
We love a good comeback moment.
Love.
So then Jenna hires Matt to take the photos for her redesign idea, and they recreate a bunch of their old high school yearbook photos. And I feel like there is this one iconic part where they're taking photos of this small football team and its fans, and Jenna accidentally stands in front of a fan that's blowing leaves for the photo, and she's just giggling and having a great time, and Matt gets distracted by her and smiles while he's taking the photo. And then Why Can't I starts playing, which is the perfect song for this.
The soundtrack for this whole movie is so good.
It made me so nostalgic. It was great. And then Matt and Jenna dance in this winter dance that they are taking photos of. Things are getting a little romantic. And then later they're looking at the photos and they all turned out great. And they decide to go get Razzles and go for a walk. And Jenna tells him he's the sweetest guy she's ever known. And they go to the park, and they jump off the swings, and then he, like, falls onto her, or she falls on, I don't know exactly what happens, but they're, like, he's on top of her at some point on the ground, and they kiss, and he was the one to initiate, I noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very cute, but he immediately is kind of like, oh, shit, what did I just do?
I didn't pick up on that at all. I need to rewatch this scene, because in my head, I was like, bro, what are you doing? And I was expecting him to be like, oh my god, sorry, that was stupid. But he didn't say anything, right? Was it just like his facials?
Yeah, he didn't say anything, but he kind of like rolls away from her and sits up, and he puts his head in his hand. And I don't know if she is aware because she just kind of leans on him, but I think he did have regrets. And then we cut to her telling Becky and all of Becky's friends, these are the 13-year-olds, the story about the kiss at a sleepover, and Jenna has goosebumps while she's telling it. And then they all dress up and sing Love is a Battlefield in Jenna's room.
This is so cute to me. I love this scene.
It's so cute.
And then Arlene and another girl from work help Jenna with her presentation. And Arlene says, I think I'm going to start reading Poise for the first time in my life. Because Jenna's trying to make it very relatable and more for the every person instead of this like high fashion, aspirational thing.
I love that.
And then Wendy surprises Matt by flying home from Chicago early. And he thinks that she's Jenna, which is tragic. This is like horrible. She comes up behind him and then he's like, oh, I didn't expect to see you. And then turns around and is like, Wendy, what are you doing here?
Like, how does Jenna have a key to your apartment?
I know. And so she and Matt go to lunch and he's so spacey while she's basically giving him the push that he should move to Chicago. And then when she says marriage, like talks about their wedding, he snaps out of being distracted. And you can tell he's just like, whoa, it's just like alarming to him, I think.
And then Lucy presents her redesign idea in a PowerPoint, or maybe it's a video, I'm not exactly sure. But it's very grunge and dark, and she calls the concept deadly serious and heroin chic. And then Jenna presents her idea on poster board like a class project. And she talks about how she doesn't know any models in their current magazine, and they feel really impersonal. And so she shows them her mood board and how it includes women who are smart and happy to be who they are. And she says she wants to put fun, silliness, and laughter back into the magazine to help people feel something. And it's the total opposite of Lucy's idea, and everyone claps, and they love it. And I love it. I wanted this magazine as a kid.
Oh, me too. Meanwhile, Lucy is really frustrated because nobody liked her idea, and she marches off to Jenna's office and goes through her desk and finds letters to Sparkle. And this is where you find out that Jenna was the mole. Jenna was the one leaking all of the Poise covers to Sparkle so they could copy them. Matt shows up to Poise and finds Lucy in Jenna's office, And Lucy tells Matt that Jenna decided to go with a more established photographer, one that's taken photos of her famous boyfriend. And she has Matt sign a release, and she tells him that it's so that they can still use his photos, maybe in a catalog or something. But it's very important that he signs this release, and you can tell he's very upset.
And then after the presentation, Jenna goes to Matt's apartment to tell him the good news, but Wendy answers the door, and she says that he's out getting his tux. It's the day before the wedding. Jenna totally forgot about Wendy, forgot that he was getting married, and so it's awkward.
And then the next day, Richard tells Jenna that Lucy took all of her ideas to Sparkle, and that Lucy's going to be Sparkle's new editor-in-chief. And obviously everybody's upset because she was supposed to be coming in to pitch this redesign idea to their corporate board, I think. And so she confronts Lucy, and Lucy tells her that she found all the letters between Jenna and Sparkle. We see one of the notes that says that because Jenna has been leaking all the ideas, Jenna is going to be Sparkle's next editor-in-chief, so that's why she was doing it. And it was to help Sparkle get to 1 million copies. So basically her job was to help Sparkle exceed what Poise was doing. And so she confronts Lucy about it, and Lucy tells her that she found everything out and basically took her job.
And at this time, I think she finds out that Matt signed the release for the photos or something, and she's like, what did you say to him? And Lucy doesn't really give her a straight answer. So Jenna calls a cab to New Jersey, and her cab driver is Chris Grandy, her crush from high school, which was always one of my favorite parts as a kid. I think he's trying to ask her out, and she is obviously not interested in him anymore just because he seems like he hasn't really changed at all since high school or done anything with his life. And so she gets out of the cab and runs the rest of the way to Matt's house where he's getting married. And I think Wendy said something that kind of annoyed me at one part in this movie. She was like, it'll be the cutest backyard wedding since I don't know when. And you can tell she's actually not super happy to have a backyard wedding, in my opinion. But it was all they could afford. And so I thought that was interesting.
So she goes up to Matt's room in his parents' house and says that whoever Lucy was talking about, it's not me. And she just means who I am now is not that person. And Matt says it doesn't matter because he stopped trusting Lucy in the 3rd grade when she stole his Pop Rocks. So he definitely does not put any stock in what Lucy says. And Jenna says that if he knew who she really was deep down, he'd be getting ready to marry her instead of Wendy.
The audacity.
Snake
the
move.
Audacity.
Okay.
She's at his wedding.
At his wedding.
In the room where he's getting ready.
He's fully in his tux. The florist is there. She passed by the room where Wendy was getting ready. She's already in her dress, so that means wedding is imminent.
To be fair, she's 13.
True.
Which makes it weirder.
Way weirder. I also love that 13-year-old Jenna is looking at grown adult Matt with arm hair. And it's you, for sure.
When she was interested more in the little kid at the restaurant, at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. And he admits that he's felt things over the last few weeks that he didn't know he could feel, but he realized you can't just turn back time, and he tells her they've both moved on and have made choices, and he chose Wendy. And he says, you don't always get the dream house, but you get awfully close. Rip, Wendy. Oof.
But also, I'm as sad as this ending is, and that he doesn't choose Jenna, it's the most realistic, I think.
1,000%, yeah.
I really love that he chose Wendy.
Also, I just think that's true.
Yeah. And it fits his character, and he's only been with Jenna for a week, and she was a totally horrible person for the past 17 years, so...
Yeah, in therapy, I've been talking about how, I'm a big daydreamer, and we've been talking a lot about the difference between how you think that, the dreams in your head of, the house or the job will feel, and they would feel that way if you, opened your door tomorrow and were that person, a la Jenna in this movie, but actually going through life to become that person or get that job or whatever, move to that place, it doesn't feel as, oh my God, dream life, because it just is your life and you've taken all the steps to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of the tragedies of becoming an adult is realizing that. But it's also wonderful and amazing. It helps you be so much more present to realize that I get to decide and I get to take all these steps, and it's not this off in La La Land, one day this thing is going to feel this way. And Dax Shepard talks about this a lot on his podcast too, how he feels fortunate that his dream came true. He became an actor and it didn't fix anything. He always thought oh, I'm going to live this fabulous life. And yes, he's very privileged and has gotten to do a lot of things, but he was like, emotionally and mentally, I don't feel any different than I did before. And a lot of people don't get the opportunity to recognize that that's true. And I just sort of feel like that's what Matt is saying here, even though it comes out dark because it's literally his wedding day. And he's like, sometimes you don't get the dream house. And then we like end up seeing that. But I do think like there is an ounce of truth to just like, as an adult, you grow up and you make the best choices that you can. And that is life, you know?
Yeah, I love that. And what that makes me think of too is sometimes you are living the dream life that you had years and years and years ago, and you don't even realize that you are. Like, for instance, sometimes I'll be like, I don't feel in the mood for dinner tonight. I'm just gonna have something really junky, like an ice cream sandwich or something, like whatever I can find and just be like a little gremlin. Then I think, wow, that's really cool that I'm an adult and I get to have ice cream for dinner.
Totally. That's a perfect example, yeah. Because like 12-year-old you would probably be like, oh, I just wish I could have an ice cream for dinner.
Yeah. And like, wow, she's doing it. She's having ice cream for dinner and she has a dog. Okay, perfect life, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thanks for the therapy session, Megan.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry to do that.
No, I think
I'm
it was...
not trying to drop the mood.
No, that made me feel really good. I like that.
Good.
But Matt's statement did not make me feel very good.
Yeah, that is so dark to be saying that in the room next to your future wife on your wedding day.
Oh, poor Wendy.
I know.
So he ends up pulling the Jenna dream house out of the closet and gives it back to her. And she's crying. And honestly, he's crying a little bit too. And she's like, I'm just crying because I'm happy and I want you to be happy. And she says that she loves him and he's her best friend. And he says, Jenna, I've always loved you. So sad. And she leaves. And she sits outside, I think on her parents' porch with the dream house. And there's still wishing dust on it. But she doesn't know that. I don't even think that she ever puts 2 and 2 together with the wishing dust. But she's crying, and obviously she's wishing that her life had been different and that she made different choices. And she closes her eyes, and the wind blows the dust around her. And when she opens her eyes, she's back in the closet on her 13th birthday. Matt comes in the closet, like he does at the beginning, and instead of her thinking that Chris is coming in and then getting mad at him, she tackles Matt and kisses him. And he goes, wow, you really know what you're doing. Which I forget, like, does that mean that Matt was her only kiss ever? Because I'm pretty sure, I don't think she kissed her boyfriend when she was 30. Did she?
I don't think so.
Wow, that's kind of sweet, actually. So he taught her, wait, she knows what she's doing because he taught her.
Because she kissed him in the park.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I never realized that. Anyway, Tom Tom comes back because she forgot her scarf, and Jenna calls Tom Tom a biatch and rips up the report. And then we cut to the present, and Jenna and Matt are getting married to each other this time.
So cute. It's so cute. I also just love that she comes back with like a vengeance, you know, where she's just like, I know what's important now.
Yeah.
And kisses Matt and like says, screw you to Tom Tom, even though that was everything she wanted like a week before.
And then somehow their relationship lasts 17 years until they get married or something.
This
I don't
shook
know.
me also to be like, you guys made it from middle school.
Wow.
From 13 years old.
That's impressive.
Middle school would be really hard.
I think so.
Yeah. Although I had a friend actually in middle school whose parents were middle school sweethearts.
That's cute.
So it's possible.
Okay.
It was really cute. They had all of their like dance photos from forever up on their wall in their house. It was very cute.
Aww.
And then we zoom out from their wedding scene and we see that they have their wedding photo framed in their new house, and their house is pink. And it looks just like the dream house he made her. And they sit on the front porch together and eat razzles. And that's the end.
So cute. I loved it.
Love. Love, love, love. And something I learned, I had no idea about this, but there's a documentary called Making of a Teen Dream about the making of this movie.
Which, when I saw your note on it, I went to YouTube and found it. It's only 19 minutes long, and I watched the whole thing. It was really good.
Oh my gosh. I'll be watching this immediately.
Yeah, I will say, a lot of my fun facts throughout this were from that documentary, so you guys should check it out. And then 13 Going on 30 was going to be adapted for Broadway in 2016, but plans fell through and it didn't happen. And I think it would be the perfect Broadway show.
It really would. It has like a basic enough plot that you would be able to do it and it would be really cute.
I just imagine like adult Tom Tom, so Lucy doing like some really fun songs. It would be great.
It would.
But apparently it was adapted as a musical in the UK. And the writers from the movie wrote the stage play. So I'm sure it was good. But I got a little confused looking into it because then I was trying to find reviews and then I was trying to find out like when this musical came out. And it looks like it was just this 2-week workshop with 4 performances at the end, and that's it. So I don't know anything about it, but I would love for them to just have this as a musical that you can just go see.
Me too. Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, thank you. That was so much fun. I love this movie.
I hope you guys are enjoying our month of romance, the month of love. We've got one more.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a good one.
But we're already starting to think about really fun spring and summer movies that are all of our nostalgic favorites. If you guys have any requests, send them to us on Instagram at What We're Watching Pod. I would love to know.
Yeah, we really love it when you guys give us your recommendations. It's so much fun.
We are already using a few also coming up in the next few months. So
stay tuned.
If you like this episode, we are still doing our review challenge. So if you leave us a 5-star rating and a written review on the Apple Podcasts app, which recently came to my attention that not everybody knows that it's Apple Podcasts. It's just the Purple Podcasts app that's on your phone. That's the only platform that I think will let you write written reviews. So if you guys write a written review, we will come up with a rom-com recommendation for you to watch this month.
And we have been having so much fun doing it, so thank you so much.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.